My name is Ethan, and I've been working in construction for 5 years, or maybe even longer. I've always loved the challenge and satisfaction that comes with building something tangible from scratch. The rhythm of construction work has become an important part of my life. We live in a small town with my wife, Lily. She works as a nurse at the town hospital and is often on call 24 hours a day. I'm used to it. That's what her job is. We met 3 years ago at a mutual friend's birthday party, and 6 months later we were married. Lily is a slender beauty with long blonde hair and brown eyes. She has a golden character, calm, caring, and understanding. She even gets along well with my mother-in-law, Margaret. Margaret's warm personality and her willingness to help others has created a peaceful dynamic in our family. Margaret is a kind woman who is always willing to help. She is an amazing cook. Her meals are so delicious. They are finger-licking good. On weekends, we often go to her and my father-in-law's house for dinner. Aunt Ellen lives nearby, and she and Margaret are great friends. They go shopping, tend the garden, and visit us often. Their friendship is a testament to years of shared memories and mutual support, a bond that adds richness to our family gatherings. Both Margaret and Aunt Ellen are elegant women, always well-groomed. Ellen's husband, Uncle Greg, now an elderly man, works alongside my father-in-law. They have been family friends since their youth. Greg often jokes that Ellen is like a fine wine that only gets better with age. She is about 5 years younger than Margaret and takes pride in her appearance, even when she is just out in the yard. Their stories of their youth often light up family dinners, filling the air with laughter and nostalgia. I remember one scorching July day when the city was baking in 95-degree heat. The asphalt felt like it was melting and all the air conditioners were working overtime. Lily had gone to the hospital for a long shift because of an epidemic that brought a wave of patients. I had things to do downtown, finalizing details with vendors and picking up materials for a construction project. By the end of the day, I was completely exhausted from the heat and constant movement. The blazing sun seemed relentless, making every task seem doubly difficult. I got home around 7 p.m., parked the car, and went inside. As I passed the gazebo next to the house, I noticed Margaret and Ellen sitting there celebrating something. The table was set with appetizers, salads, sliced pickles, and homemade pickle wine. It turned out that Ellen had celebrated her birthday the day before, and they had decided to celebrate together. They spotted me and waved me over, their cheerful energy almost contagious. How could I refuse? I joined them and we started talking about work, life, and memories. Ellen told stories from her youth about trips to the sea, the delicious fruit she ate, and how she met Greg. Margaret talked about her vegetable garden and the extraordinary tomatoes she grew that year. I shared news of my construction projects. The conversation flowed easily, accompanied by laughter and the occasional toast. Time flew by, and before I knew it, the sun had set. The scent of lime and jasmine wafted in the warm evening air, lending a dreamy character to the gathering. I had a couple glasses of juice, and the atmosphere was light and relaxed. When it was time to leave, Margaret suggested that I walk Ellen home since it was getting dark. "Take care of Ellen," she said, "and I'll clean up here." Ellen and I walked slowly down the road. She was wearing a light summer dress that gave off a subtle, sweet perfume scent. Her laughter and casual remarks made this short walk pleasant. The streets were quiet, broken only by the distant chirping of crickets. When we reached her house, she fiddled a little with the keys, her hands trembling slightly. Once inside, she sat down on a bench in the hallway and smiled. "Don't go yet," she said. "Stay with me for a minute." The apartment was warm and stuffy with the windows closed. Her perfume seemed stronger in the enclosed space, and I felt slightly dizzy, perhaps from the wine or the lingering heat. As I sat next to her, she suddenly reached out and ran a warm hand over my shoulder. "It's so hot," she murmured, noticing that my shirt was sticking to my back. Then she stood up and went into the kitchen to pour a glass of water. I followed her, and the soft sound of our footsteps echoed in the quiet apartment. Ellen sipped from the glass, drops of water running down her neck. She set the glass aside and turned to face me, her eyes glistening and her lips slightly open. At that moment, something clicked in my head. My heart raced and my thoughts became a fog. All I remembered were her lips, her hands, and the sensation of her dress slipping to the floor. My shirt followed. It all happened quickly, in the kitchen, to the quiet hum of the fan and our ragged breathing. The moment was intense and fleeting, a whirlwind of sensations. Afterward, Ellen simply said, "You should go. It's getting late." She fixed her hair and smoothed her dress. Her movements were leisurely, almost serene, as if nothing out of the ordinary had happened. I stepped out into the night, the scent of flowers and an approaching summer thunderstorm in the air. The cool breeze contrasted sharply with the evening heat, bringing a strange sense of relief. As I walked home, conflicting emotions raged in my head, the events of the evening replaying in fragments, vivid and surreal.